The broadcast, it began without warning. At 3:14 a.m., every screen in the world, phones, TIVs, computers, even traffic lights, suddenly went black. For a few seconds, there was silence. No sound, no picture, just darkness. Then, a face appeared. It was not human. The skin was pale silver, smooth like glass. The eyes were large, glowing blue. The face looked calm but serious. No background, no sound. Just this strange alien woman staring at the people of Earth. And then she spoke. Her voice was cold, soft, and clear. She didn't move her lips, but everyone heard her. Directly in their minds. Stop looking. Make contact. You have one chance. The message played only once. Then the screens turned off again. Power came back. The world returned to normal, but nothing felt normal anymore. Within minutes, social media exploded. People posted videos, screenshots, questions. News channels stopped their programs. Leaders held emergency meetings. Scientists worked all night trying to trace the signal. But there was no signal. The message didn't come from space or satellites or cables. It came from nowhere. Or maybe from inside the planet. Governments denied everything. Some said it was a cyber attack. Others said it was a trick by another country. People argued. Fear started to grow. But not everyone was scared. Far away in a quiet mountain town, an old man sat alone in his cabin. His name was Dr. Elias Rayner. Once, he was a top space engineer. He worked with NASA, ESA, and other big names. But he left everything 10 years ago after something strange happened to him on a mission. Now, as he stared at the empty screen in front of him, he whispered to himself, "She's real." He had seen her before. Not in real life, but in his dreams. For years, she had appeared again and again, always silent, always watching. He had told people, but no one believed him. They said he was tired, or sick, or too old. Some laughed. But now, the world had seen her too. He stood up, walked to a small locked box, and opened it. Inside was a notebook, filled with drawings, symbols, maps, and that same face. The face from the screen. His hand shook as he turned the pages. One of them had a line written in red ink. "She is waiting." Meanwhile, in London, a secret group met inside a hidden room beneath the city. This was the Global Contact Division, or GCD. Most people didn't know they existed. Their job: prepare for first contact with alien life. And tonight, they were afraid. "We've been watching the stars for years," said Director Khan, the leader of GCD. "But she didn't come from space. She came from here." "Maybe underground?" asked another agent. "Or another dimension?" "We don't know," Khan said. "But we have 72 hours to find out, or we lose our chance." Back in his cabin, Elias felt something strange. A low humming sound in his ears, a warmth in his chest. He looked out the window and saw lights in the sky, soft, slow, and spinning. They were not planes, not satellites. And then he heard her voice again. Not from a screen, not from a speaker, but inside his mind. "Elias, it is time." He fell to his knees. The voice was not loud. It was soft, like a memory, but it carried power and truth. He knew she wasn't speaking to the whole world now. She was speaking to him. Across the globe, strange things started happening. Animals acted restless. Compasses spun in circles. People reported dreams of stars and light. Something was changing. Something had already begun. The next morning, Elias packed his bag. He didn't know where he was going, but he felt pulled, like a thread was leading him somewhere. Before he left, he looked at the last page in his notebook. It had only 3 words: "She will return." He didn't lock the door. He didn't say goodbye. He just walked into the forest, with the morning fog rising around him. The broadcast had ended, but the message had only just begun. Dreams of the unknown. 3 days had passed since the broadcast, but the world was not the same. Governments stayed silent. No updates, no answers. Cities were calm on the outside, but underneath, fear was growing. Something was coming, and everyone could feel it. But one man already knew it had begun. Dr. Elias Rayner hadn't slept since the broadcast. Not truly. Every time he closed his eyes, he found himself in another place, floating in a sea of stars, surrounded by whispers. Sometimes he saw her, the alien woman. Sometimes he saw shadows behind her, watching, waiting. No one else saw what he saw. Not yet. But soon, others started to dream too. In a busy hospital in Brazil, a young woman named Sofia woke up screaming. She was a nurse, healthy, no history of mental illness. But now, every night she saw the same thing. A silver face, glowing eyes, and a strange language written in the sky. Thousands of kilometers away, in a prison in Japan, a prisoner carved symbols into his cell wall. He had never seen a TV, never heard the broadcast, but he drew the same face. When the guards asked him who she was, he replied, "She's calling." Soon, reports came from all over the world. Artists painted her. Children dreamed of her. Even animals acted strange, looking up at the sky at the same time every night. 3:14 a.m., the exact moment the message appeared. Something was connecting them all. And in a hidden facility beneath the Swiss Alps, the Global Contact Division, GICT, began to realize the truth. This was not first contact. This was phase 2. Director Khan stood in front of a giant screen, showing a map of the world. Red dots flashed across every continent, people reporting dreams, visions, or hearing voices. "This is spreading fast," he said. "Whatever this is, it's already in their minds." A young analyst stepped forward. "Sir, we have a name." He clicked a button. The screen changed. It showed an old file, very old. From Mission Argo 7, a deep space research mission led by Dr. Elias Rayner 10 years ago. The file was marked classified. It showed a photo of Elias standing next to a glowing object, round, smooth, floating above a metal platform. Written under the photo, "Contact anomaly, case unresolved." Director Khan narrowed his eyes. Find him. Now. Elias was already on the move. He had left the mountains, traveling by old roads, guided by instinct and dreams. He didn't eat much. He didn't sleep. He didn't even know where he was going. But each night, the same message echoed in his head. Come closer. One night, he camped by an old river. As he sat by the fire, a woman appeared across from him. Not the alien woman, but someone real. Human. She was tall, wearing a black coat, her face hidden in shadow. "You're not the only one," she said. Elias didn't speak. He just stared. "I see her too," she continued. "And the others. We're being chosen." "Chosen for what?" he finally asked. She didn't answer. Instead, she opened her hand and showed a small object, a glowing stone, shaped like a teardrop. Elias's eyes widened. He had seen it before. It was the same shape from his dream. The same object he found on Mission Argo 7. The object they were told to forget. "They buried the truth," she said, "but she's waking it up." Before he could speak again, she was gone. Vanished into the dark. Back at GICT, the team finally tracked Elias. He was picked up and brought to the facility. No questions asked. Just silence and cold metal halls. Director Khan sat across from him in a room with no windows. "You saw her before anyone else," he said. "Why you?" Elias looked tired, but calm. "She chose me a long time ago," he replied. "We just didn't listen." Khan leaned forward. "What does she want?" Elias slowly looked up. His eyes were filled with something strange. Not fear, but understanding. "She wants to test us, to see if we're ready. But it's not just her. There are others." "Others?" "Yes, Elias said quietly. "And they're not all friendly." Just then, the lights in the room flickered. Every screen in the building turned black. Again. And once more, the alien woman appeared. This time, her message was longer. "You are dreaming the truth. 7 days remain. Enter the gate, or stay blind forever." As the message ended, the floor under their feet shook. Alarms blared. In the sky above, satellites picked up something massive moving beneath Antarctica, something not built by humans. Director Khan whispered, "What gate?" Elias closed his eyes. "It's already open. The ultimatum." The world thought the worst had passed. The broadcast was over, and people were trying to forget. They went back to work, to school, to their phones, and daily routines. But something was still wrong. It hung in the air like a storm waiting to break. And then, the countdown began. It started with sound. Not loud, but deep. A hum, soft but constant, vibrating through the earth. People in cities said it was their buildings shaking. People in villages blamed the wind, but nobody could find the source. At first, it lasted only a few seconds. Then one day, it didn't stop. Scientists detected strange frequencies coming from under Antarctica. Machines failed. Compasses spun wildly. Animals began fleeing the southern coasts. Something old and powerful was waking up. In the sky, stars began to blink out, one by one. Deep inside the Global Contact Division, Elias Rayner stood in a dark room filled with screens. Each one showed a different part of the world. People dreaming, symbols appearing in crop fields, cities losing power for minutes at a time. "She's trying to talk again," Elias said quietly. Director Khan didn't look away from the screen. "No, this time she's warning us." The alien woman had returned. Her face now appeared every night at 3:14 a.m., just like before. But her message had changed. This time, it was longer, and much more terrifying. "You failed to listen. Time is ending. Make contact within 7 rotations, or be left behind." Across the screen, a digital timer appeared -7 days, and counting. But that wasn't all. At the bottom of the message was a new symbol, something no one had seen before. Not a word, not a name, but a map. It pointed to Antarctica. On day 1, chaos began. World governments called emergency meetings. Private agencies launched secret missions. Military planes flew toward the South Pole. Everyone wanted to be the first to make contact. But no one knew what contact meant. And while the world scrambled, something worse happened. A second signal activated, this one buried deep under the ice. And it was growing louder. "This isn't just a message," said Lena, the young scientist working with Gecht. "It's a test." She stood next to Elias in the command center, holding a metal plate, ancient, alien, and still warm. It had been found under the ice just hours ago by a team sent to explore the signal. The plate pulsed with light. Lines moved across its surface like veins. Symbols rearranged themselves whenever Lena got closer. Elias reached out and touched it. Instantly, his mind was filled with images. Fire, stars, machines bigger than cities, a war in the sky, a massive doorway made of light, and something on the other side. Something watching, something waiting. He pulled his hand back, shaking. "It's not just a warning," he said. "It's an ultimatum." "What do they want?" Lena asked. Elias stared at the plate. "They want us to walk through that door, or never see it again." On day 2, the earth shook. Not like an earthquake, but a pulse. Buildings cracked. Oceans rippled. Time felt slower. Clocks stopped for 3 minutes and 14 seconds, all over the world. The exact number again, 3:14. People panicked. Some started calling the alien woman a god. Others said she was the devil. Protests broke out. A few worshipped her. Most feared her. But in the silence between panic and fear, a quiet discovery was made. The ancient plate showed a new detail. A date, the 7th day. And below it, a set of coordinates. Deep in the Antarctic ice, where no human had ever gone. On day 3, Gicted launched Mission Gatefall. Elias, Lena, and a small team of scientists, soldiers, and diplomats boarded a black transport jet headed for Antarctica. Their job: find the location from the plate, make contact, and hope it wasn't already too late. As they flew through the stormy skies, Lena looked out the window and said, "Do you think this is a trap?" Elias didn't answer at first. Then he said, "If it is, it's the kind of trap we've been walking into for a long time." Back on land, Director Khan received new satellite data. An object the size of a mountain was rising slowly from beneath the ice. It wasn't solid. It wasn't metal. It was something else, a structure made of light and gravity. And it was activating itself. As he watched it move, he whispered to himself, "We waited too long." On day 4, the team reached the coordinates. What they saw couldn't be explained. A giant black circle carved into the ice, pulsing with energy. In the center, a platform. Floating above it, a crack in space, like a wound in the air. A doorway. Elias walked forward, his hand reaching out. And then, the woman appeared again. But this time, not on a screen. She stood in front of them, glowing, real. "You found the gate," she said, "but you have not passed the test. 6 turns remain. Choose wisely." Before anyone could speak, she vanished, leaving only silence, and the hum of the gate growing louder. The countdown continued, and the world held its breath. The contact portal. By the time day 5 began, the world had changed forever. The sky above Antarctica was no longer empty. Strange lights danced in the clouds, moving like they were alive. Satellites failed when they flew too close. Planes turned back. Weather patterns shifted. It was like the planet itself had started to turn against humanity. And at the center of it all was the gate. The team stood on the frozen platform, facing the impossible. A doorway floated in front of them, not made of metal or stone, but of light that shimmered like water. It was tall, almost 10 feet high, and wide enough for 3 people to walk through side by side. Around it, the ground was cracked, glowing with the same symbols from the alien message. No wind, no sound, just the soft hum of energy vibrating through their bones. Elias Rayner stepped forward. His breath came slow and cold in the air. "This is it," he said. "This is what she wanted us to find." But no one moved. No one dared to touch it. Until the woman returned. She appeared at the edge of the gate, not on a screen this time, not in their minds, but right there, standing in front of them. Her skin was silver and soft, her eyes still glowing, but not cold. This time, she looked tired. "You are not the first to stand here," she said. "Many have found the gate. Few chose to enter." Lena stepped forward beside Elias. "What's inside?" The woman paused. Truth. Inside the gate, the rules of the world ended. Elias was the first to walk through. His body vanished in a flash of light. But he didn't die. He didn't feel pain. Instead, he floated, weightless, in a space made of stars, memories, and voices. He was not alone. He saw the woman again, but younger, smiling. She wasn't speaking to him now. She was speaking to someone else, someone from a different time. And behind her stood beings unlike anything he had seen. Tall, shadowed, wrapped in light. And then something strange happened. He saw himself, standing in a space station, touching the same glowing object from years ago. The object he was told to forget. The object the agency buried. Elias realized the truth. They had made contact a long time ago. And they had lied. On the outside, the team waited. 5 minutes passed. 10. 15. "He's not coming back," one of the soldiers said. But Lena wasn't so sure. She could feel it now, like something was pulling at her thoughts. Her hand shook as she stared at the gate. Something inside was calling her. Not in words, not even in sound, but in feeling. A deep sense of urgency. "I'm going in," she said. Before anyone could stop her, she stepped through the portal and vanished. Inside, Lena didn't float like Elias. Instead, she stood in a space that looked like her childhood home. But everything was wrong. The sky outside the window was purple. The pictures on the walls showed people with glowing eyes. She heard a voice behind her. Not the woman this time. A child. "You came late," the child said. "You almost missed it." "Missed what?" Lena asked. But the child just pointed up. In the sky above, the stars shifted and formed shapes. Circles, lines, ancient symbols. They weren't just lights. They were instructions. Lena saw something horrible. Earth, split in two, fire pouring from its core. Then she saw something beautiful. Cities floating in space, humans and aliens walking side by side. And then a question formed in her mind. Not from the gate, from herself. Which future do we choose? Outside, the soldiers argued. Director Khan's voice came through the comms, demanding answers. No one could explain what was happening. No signals worked inside the portal. No readings made sense. Then suddenly, the gate flashed, and Elias stepped out. He looked pale, older, his eyes different. He said only one word. "We're not alone." He was changed. He could feel everything, the ground, the sky, even the fear in the soldiers' hearts. The connection was still inside him, like a wire that had been plugged into his mind. "She showed me the truth," he said. "This planet was never only ours." "What does she want?" Khan asked, now on a video call with the team. Elias looked at the glowing sky above. "She wants us to evolve. But we have to choose it. She can't force us. The portal leads to knowledge, yes, but also to danger. Others are watching. Other species. Not all of them are peaceful." Then he turned to the gate. "This isn't just a contact portal," he said. "It's a key. And it doesn't open one door." Lena stepped out behind him. Her face said it all. She had seen what he saw. Maybe more. That night, the countdown ticked to 2 days remaining. All over the world, gates began to appear. Not just in Antarctica, but in deserts, forests, and oceans. Some small, some as big as buildings. They didn't wait for permission. They had been hidden. Now, they were active. People began disappearing. Not in fear, but in curiosity. Walking into the gates, never returning. Others stayed back, afraid, angry. Earth was being offered a path, but no one knew where it would lead. In a final private message to Director Khan, Elias recorded his thoughts. "We've always searched the stars, but the stars were watching us back. This is the invitation and the warning. What we do next decides everything." End of message. End of part 5. The gates are open. The test has begun. The betrayal. The gates had opened, not just in Antarctica, but everywhere. In the deep ocean. In the middle of deserts. Hidden forests. Abandoned cities. Even one. Floating in orbit. Humanity stood on the edge of something ancient, and someone wanted to push it over. Governments around the world tried to take control. Military units were sent to secure every gate. Some opened fire on civilians who tried to approach. Others set up fences and camps. But the gates did not belong to them. Some resisted. Some glowed red when touched with violence. Some simply vanished when surrounded by weapons. Still, the world's leaders made their choice. If they couldn't understand the technology, they would own it. Inside the Global Contact Division, Director Khan was under pressure. Calls came from presidents, prime ministers, generals. "Get us inside that gate. We need the technology before someone else does. Stop letting your scientists play with it. Send soldiers." Khan stared at the blinking countdown. Less than 48 hours left. He knew what they didn't. He had seen Elias's report. These gates were not gifts. They were tests. And humanity was already failing. Elias, Rayner, and Lena returned to the Antarctic portal, but something had changed. The platform was cold now, the light weaker. The symbols around the gate had shifted, some faded, some glowing red. "They're watching us," Elias said. "Who?" Lena asked. "Not her. Others. Her kind aren't the only ones out there." Lena's hands trembled. "We weren't ready for one species. Now you're saying there's more." "Some are peaceful," Elias said. "Some are not." The woman had shown them visions of what came next, if they made the wrong choice. Not invasion. Erasure. On the 6th day, the betrayal began. A private military group, funded by a global superpower, launched Operation Freezefall. They didn't want to talk to the alien woman. They wanted to capture the gate. 12 black choppers flew through Antarctica's deadly winds. On board were elite soldiers trained for war, not peace. When they landed, they moved fast, surrounding the gate with heavy machines, bombs, and something worse, an energy disruptor built from stolen alien tech found years ago and kept secret from the public. Elias and Lena were still inside the gate's area when the soldiers arrived. "This is a protected zone." Lena shouted, "You can't do this." The commander pointed a weapon at her. "Orders from above. Step aside." But the gate was already reacting. The symbols around it turned black. The hum became a roar, and the sky cracked open. Above them, a flash of light tore across the clouds, like a wound in the sky. The soldiers froze. Something was coming through. The commander gave the order anyway. "Fire the disruptor." They aimed the stolen machine at the gate and fired. What happened next would never be shown on the news. The energy beam hit the gate. For 1 second, it seemed to work. The light flickered. The symbols vanished. Then the ground screamed. A sound not from Earth, a scream that vibrated through the bones. The temperature dropped instantly. Machines shut down. Radios exploded. And from the gate, something stepped out. But it wasn't her. It wasn't the woman. It was something else. Dark, twisted, tall, and thin. It moved like a shadow that had learned to walk. The soldiers opened fire. The bullets passed through it. It didn't stop. It touched one of the men. He vanished. Not died. Not fell. Just vanished, like he had never existed. Panic followed. Soldiers ran. Some screamed. Some begged. The creature looked at Elias, but didn't move toward him. It tilted its head, and then stepped back into the gate, and the gate closed behind it. Gone. Dead silent. 2 hours later, Elias sat in the snow, his hands shaking. "They broke it," he whispered. "They broke the rules." Lena was beside him, her face pale. "Was that a guardian?" she asked. "A warning." Elias nodded slowly, "Or a preview of what's waiting, if we fail." Director Khan watched the satellite feed. It had all been recorded. He knew he couldn't stop what was coming now. All he could do was choose: help the world prepare, or try to fix what had been broken. He sent a private message to Elias. "1 day left. What do we do?" Elias replied with a single word: "Listen." In the skies, the stars realigned again. The countdown reached 24 hours, and something massive began to move beneath Antarctica, far bigger than any gate. A final test was coming, not of science, not of technology, but of humanity's soul. The final choice. 24 hours left. The countdown ticked like a slow heartbeat, echoing in minds, in machines, in the Earth itself. But something had changed. The skies above Antarctica were no longer stormy. They were still, silent, like the calm before a disaster, like the planet itself was holding its breath. Beneath the ice, the gate reactivated on its own. No command, no contact. This time, it wasn't glowing. It was burning. Burning from the inside out. Elias Rayner stood at the edge of the frozen platform, his breath forming clouds in the cold air. Beside him was Lena, silent, eyes wide with fear and wonder. "It's calling again," Elias whispered. But he didn't say who was calling. Because now, it wasn't just her. Far below the surface, something massive had awakened. Not a machine. Not a ship. A structure. Older than any human civilization. Alien, yes, but made with terrifying purpose. A voice echoed inside the heads of every person on Earth who had dreamed, who had heard her before. But this time, the voice was not soft. It was sharp. "Your time is ending. Make the choice. Speak, or be forgotten." In major cities, panic spread. The gates across the world flickered with strange lights. Some began closing, one by one, sealed like doors that would never open again. But a few remained open. And one, the first gate in Antarctica, was now growing. It was no longer a portal. It had become a doorway to something bigger, something not meant for all. Something that would only open for a voice, a final voice. At GATE headquarters, Director Khan had made his decision. He went live on a hidden global channel used only for world-ending events. His face was tired. His voice was low. "We've done enough damage. We tried to own what wasn't ours. But this isn't about technology. It never was. It's about how we think, how we choose, how we survive." And then he said the words that no one expected from a world leader. "I give my vote to Elias Rayner." Minutes later, Elias stood once more before the gate. Not with soldiers, not with scientists, but alone. The countdown showed 0:15:32. 15 minutes to midnight. He looked back once, at Lena, standing at a distance. "If I don't come back." "I know," she said. "Just speak for us." He nodded, turned, and stepped through the burning gate. This time, the other side was different. He wasn't floating. He wasn't dreaming. He was standing in a space made of light, memory, and sound. He saw Earth, not as it is, but as it could be. Clean skies, cities floating among clouds, humans walking beside tall beings of light, talking without words. No borders, no war, no hunger. And then the opposite. Fires, oceans boiling, towers falling, silence. He stood between two futures. And then she appeared, one last time. The alien woman, no longer cold, no longer unreadable. She looked tired, ancient, and she spoke. "You were given the chance, and the test is not what you thought. It was never about reaching us. It was about reaching each other." Elias didn't speak. He listened. "You searched the stars," she said, "but forgot to search your hearts." He stepped forward. "Can we fix it?" he asked. She paused. "You must choose, and the choice must be one voice. Not a machine, not a vote, not a weapon. A truth, your truth." He closed his eyes. The light swirled around him. Memories of his life, of war, of loss, of love, of looking at the stars and wondering if anyone was out there. And now he knew. They were always there, watching, waiting, hoping. And then he spoke, softly. "We are not perfect, but we can grow. We can change. We choose to listen." The light stopped. The space around him collapsed into silence. For one terrifying moment, he thought he had failed. But then, the woman smiled and vanished. On Earth, the skies lit up. Not with fire, with stars. Millions of new stars appeared, blinking into view above every continent. The gates stabilized. The earthquakes stopped. The strange hum faded. And across the world, one message appeared on every screen, every device, every surface. Contact accepted. Your voice was heard. But Elias Rayner never returned. Not his body, not his voice. But every night after that, A child somewhere in the world would dream of a man walking through a door made of light and whispering. We listened.